Hi, my name is drmike.org. So MikeRatner.com or drmike.org will take you to my website. So I call myself a social philosopher or psychologist in the way that, I analyze society and what's going on. This is a really kind of a brief summary book pitch to a potential agent or publishing rep. So just a couple months ago, through the United States Trademark Patent Office, I was awarded the trademark on IGO, so IGO. And the IGO, or the IGO, as people now reference it as the IGO, I get it, is basically, I've named the selfie of the mind. And understanding the IGO as a self-concept, I think is going to advance humanity. And I mean this really in a very positive but lofty concept, because once we get a sense of how we identify ourselves and who we perceive ourselves to be, we can get a better sense of our self-image, but also relate to ourselves in a higher ideal self. So we can maximize the potential of who we perceive ourselves to be. That's what my work is about. So IGO is pretty profound in a lot of ways. It's just the fact that naming the selfie of the mind, given the history of our humanity, it's never been named in psychology, sociology, philosophy. You would think, right? This is an action we all do. We all imagine ourselves. Well, have we ever thought about who it is that we imagine and how it is that we come to picture ourselves in a certain way, in a certain dynamic? Well, that's what my work's about. And again, I'm drmike.org. So positioning myself as an avatar author and an expert in this particular area, I feel this is a breakout title. Just like when people had the Cabbage Patch dolls or pet rocks, everyone in the future will talk about their ego. They will, because at some point, whether through AI or different potentialities of how we show up through social media and come to represent ourselves, whoever publishes me and does the right job of promoting the concept, whether we start using Malcolm Gladwell's tipping point theory, at psychology conferences, or start doing webinars that bring in other leaders and experts in branding or self-image and fashion. IGO is a breakthrough concept. It is, because we're bringing a new term that everyone's going to have the experience of self-discovery on another level. And that could be momentous. I mean, it could be tremendous in the sense that this is a breakout quantum bestseller. Stephen Covey, who's, best-selling author of all time, was one of my mentors. And, talked to me about what it took to get the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People published. And some of his ideas helped inform where I'm at in my thinking, particularly in shifting paradigms. So if you go to my website, you'll see other book titles if this is not your cup of coffee, to relate from his influence and other people, and the idea that we can create a living philosophy and move the agenda forward so we can get along with each other better. So my other work, and I don't have a backdrop for this, and I should, is lovingconversations.com. When I say other work, these are the two titles I would pitch in the traditional world. I might do other things in the future on my own, but IGO is a breakout bestseller for self-help, personal development, psychology, and Loving Conversations fits in that model, but also adding relationships, right? And communication strategies. So lovingconversations.com. And again, if you go to my website, mikeratner.com or drmike.org, you'll see other titles under the listing there that might be of interest to you. So this is an appeal, sharing this with a couple people who said they can give me an introduction to a book agent. So that's a little bit about my projects. And just a quick bio, as I mentioned, Stephen Covey was one of my mentors. I was very fortunate, still am, to have the company and the association of some pretty profound thinkers and big names, including Deepak Chopra and Les Brown, Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy is on my website. You'll see where I did an interview a few years back talking about a project we worked on together on goals. So you can find that again on my website. So having that association is really huge. And I guess the big fish name, the biggest client I had, who was 6'7", was Tony Robbins. For 7 years, I pretty much lived on the road as his national media manager for his live events. That was my title. So I had to set up everything in the city weeks to months before he got out there. That was my job. So I studied a lot of great people, and not just, having some opportunities and the privilege to have been around these people, but I really observed, wanting to study and look at, and there's other people too that just keep naming names, that I found fascinating to observe. And again, being the observer in the observation, I came up with some ideas that I feel are breakout analogies that once they're brought to the forefront, the public's attention and eye awareness, we're going to be able to um, really help a lot of people out, but also the, I could say, whether it's the narrative of whatever world and the society we're living in right now, we're going to be able to help evolve, and I mean this in all sincerity, community, the connection to it and consciousness to a level to where we'll be better suited to have a desirable, livable future, sustainable one. That's something that we love. So I think this work is pretty profound, not just because I wrote it or came up with it, because it evolved out of many different ideas, but it's that important. So I hope you will give it the weight of consideration and talk to me about it and where we can go with it. I mean, you go to the websites, igoresearch.com, you'll see other variations that this is actually a series of titles and book covers that are proposed. I have many other ideas, so we could talk about it, whether it evolves to a podcast, a talk show, other books. And I'd love to be a contributor in your projects and in your work. So be in touch. I'm certainly happy to talk about IGO. All right. So again, my name is drmike.org. I appreciate you guys taking the time to check this out. It means a lot to me. And you'll find more of my work at mikeratner.com. And my podcast is called Mike's